live, but it's only been 2 days. We back again. Cowboy hat on. Peacoat popped up. Yeah. Trying to become a ice bounty hunter. A Dark Star ice bounty hunter. Hence the hat. We may or may not have people pop up on this stream. Let's see what's up. Might just be me in chat. Who knows? But yeah. It is Monday. Martin Luther King Jr. Day as well. What up, Elusive? How you doing, dude? Yeah, it's MLK Jr. Day. Monday. A lot of controversy. They've tried to put up a lot of controversy on the man, but you never know what's true and what's not. They like to say that he had an affair and beat up on his wife. And regardless of if that was true or not, that was back in the 1960s, and some of that behavior is probably commonplace. And still, he did a lot. You got to think, what Martin Luther King Jr. did was a great thing, though, for sure. We as a human race will never be able to get to space. We will never be able to do anything if we're separated on lines of racist bias and stuff like that. What up, Matthew? So that's why MLK. Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. She probably wasn't. She was probably a prune. She seemed like a prune. She was like real involved with the church and shit, and Coretta wasn't giving it up to him, so that's why he would keep several mistresses. There you go. And she'd be talking shit, be like, "Why are you cheating on me, Martin?" And then he would be like, "Shut up, bitch," and start beating her up. Who knows? But I will tell you this: there's a guy who does not have a federal holiday who I would possibly might deserve one more than MLK Jr. If you think about it, it was Malcolm X. If you want to look at their lifestyles and how they lived their lives, Malcolm X was talking to his wife every single day. What up, Steph? Yeah, Malcolm would call his wife every single day. Never cheated on her, never beat on her. It's kind of a simp for her. Yeah. He was assassinated by people within his own organization, than the Nation of Islam. Yeah. Whereas MLK was his assassination. A lot of people think Jesse Jackson was in on that assassination of MLK Jr. Am I right? Was it Jesse Jackson or was it Al Sharpton? I'm pretty sure Jesse Jackson is the one that was holding him in his arms whenever he was shot. Now, a lot of people think that Jesse Jackson was involved with that, right? That maybe he didn't kill MLK, but he knew it was going to happen. He was there, and he allowed it to happen because he was going to be the one who took over especially after then Malcolm dies. So Jesse Jackson and guys like that are the ones that kind of take over the Black liberation movement, for lack of a better term, which is what it was. Yeah, because you got to think there was a time in this country whenever Black people were treated like shit. And I'm not sounding like liberal or no shit. I'm just being the honest truth. What up, Neverete? Glurbo says, "You ever get chicken wings pizza?" I didn't know that was a combination. Green grapes and unsalted cashews together. That does sound pretty good. Yeah. And a lot of I haven't really been researching it per se, but I have been like reading into it a little bit. Right before MLK was assassinated, because they had gotten the civil rights, they had fought for that, they'd gotten that, and they, obviously that was something they just did overnight too. Civil rights was something they just did. They didn't slowly ease into it. They just passed the law, and the next day they were all going to school together. But as before, working all this stuff, a lot of people, there was a lot of instances of crazy shit, but after about 10 years, I'd say it probably settled in. But MLK, right before he got assassinated, they weren't doing freedom marches and things of that nature anymore. They were doing poor people's marches, right? They were doing marches, but they're trying to bring about economic security, I suppose, or something. Because especially back then in those days, people were dirt poor. People were damn dirt poor. It's gotten way better now, but they to an extent we think it's gotten better now, but if you back then, they were dirt poor, but they had more freedom to travel the world and do whatever the fuck they wanted without having to worry about um, being busted down. You know. 1 second, guys. Oh, there we go. Yeah, but I don't believe. I don't think MLK Jr. would be marching with the anti-ICE protesters. If you look at it, I think that the reason they're bringing in these hordes of illegal immigrants is to replace our minorities that we already got. Um, yeah, he definitely wouldn't be down with them storming churches like they did yesterday. Just Matt. How many Matthews are there? Oh, we got Matthew 6983. We got Matthew Land. Pretty common name. Yeah, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. I was watching the news last night. I guess Trump has, or not Trump, and you say Trump like it's him doing it all. It's not directly him, but they got like 1,500 soldiers ready in Alaska to go down to Minneapolis. And again, these are Arctic fighting. They're trained to be experts in sub-zero weather and fighting in snow and Arctic shit. So that's be interesting. They'd be fighting a bunch of trannies and cross-species people. Matthew Lamnard called Matt. We'll start calling you Matt, dude. For sure. You shall be called Matt from henceforth. Fuck. And right now in Virginia too, Richmond, they're having a 2A. They're doing a 2A march. Yeah, they're doing a march for the Second Amendment over there in Richmond, Virginia. Some news to share if you guys want to check that out. What up, Teresa? How you doing? That dude Hutch had damn fucking 10,000 views this morning. That's crazy. That's crazy as hell. I was gonna pop on with him, but I fucking didn't end up going to sleep till about 2. I was supposed to be up at 8 for that. I had to miss it though. What does everybody got planned for today? A dozen eggs? Yes, I am. No, Badass is my last name. Billy is my first name, motherfucker. 1 dozen eggs. I can't. How can I not? Well, everybody always says that when I have this outfit and this hat on. Disgusting. Mustache rides? That's going to be a $10 super chat to see this mustache go. Yeah. Yeah, the weather ain't been too bad here. I don't understand. I really do feel like that is some biblical shit where people they hate on the Jews. I really feel like it was predicted in Revelation saying the world's going to turn against them. There's so much random, like people, they hate these people they've never even fucking met. Like that's same to any kind of racist person. Like they hate somebody they've never met. They judge a whole group of people based off of the leaders of countries and shit like that. It's fucking retarded. What have you, Rucka? What's his name? Okay, good. Yeah, BMX dude, exactly. See, 1 dozen eggs was not saying that. He was saying it for their whole entire people. Yeah, and it's a lot of people they act like all Jewish people are connected to they like every single one of them, baby, old person, they act like they're all connected to some kind of secret society. That's retarded. They are not. It says both of those. What are you talking about? The Bible says don't say that the world's turning against them. The Bible says they are the fake ones, and that will be made to before for 0 to 9. Yeah, all that's up for debate, dude. They're meant to be priests. It also says in the Bible that who blesses Israel and who loves Israel, God will bless and will love as well. All right. Is Navarrete not it? Navarrete. That's a rich family in Peru. It's a rich family in Peru for sure. Never ate there. Brakinski. Brakinski. That Polish? Yeah. But I just want to know, like, somebody, if someone's anti-Semite, why are you an anti-Semite? What makes you have these anti-Semitical views? If you look, there are people in this country that have done worse shit, fucking, to me personally, that we deal with here on an everyday basis than somebody in Israel. If you think about it, you know, yeah. But to act like everybody who's in a group of people is a part of some kind of secret cabal running everything, that's retarded as fuck. -20 with wind chill. See, we have a little bit of nice weather right now, as a decent, as somewhat pretty decent at the moment. Uh, but it has the potential to get bad, for sure. It's like the calm for the storm. They were saying it was going to snow all weekend. I was thinking it's going to be some kind of crazy snowstorm, and we'd be able to go sledding and shit this weekend, but it never happened. I see. You got to clarify these things. Yeah, but it's not. It's not Jews though. You gotta understand. It's not little hat people. I gotta use this language very carefully. GTA 6, but it's not It's not. They're called Luciferians. What up, Third Eye? It's called Luciferians, dude. And yes, there might. So back in the Old Testament, we're familiar with how the Israelites would be doing great. They'd be having their civilization would be high. They'd be doing amazing. And then they turn away from belief in God, start believing in all the foreign gods of the Canaanites and Phoenicians and all that around them. And then God would he'd turn his back on them, and then they would fall to despair, lamentations, and then time would go by. They'd have to rebuild. They'd get their faith back in God again. They'd be back on top, and then they'd lose faith in God and go back to believing in false idols. So I believe that what the people, the little hat people that are associated with evil and stuff like that, they're not worshiping the Abrahamic God. They're the elites from thousands of years ago in ancient Israel kingdom. All right, that kept to following Asheroth, Baal, Moloch, all of these all these Phoenician deities around them, right? All the Mo they would with the Moabites, Ammonites, they start following all. So it's not them as a whole people, right? It's not them as a whole entire people. It's their leaders, and even people who are born into Gentile have also found themselves into higher rankings of this Luciferian cult. Yeah. Thank you, Teresa. I have not brushed my teeth yet. I got a little bit of yellow hair on them. I need to. I can. If you can smell your own breath, you know it's kicking. My little Mesopotamian. hmm. We got somebody in here typing in Silric. Yeah, but if you think about it, like a lot of times, I was contemplating this, and this might sound kind of retarded. So even back, let's go real quick to touch on that, then I'll move on to the next. So we're all familiar with the Sumerians, right? Ancient Samaria was its own king. So after Israel got broken up into, the kingdom of Israel didn't exist anymore. Whenever the Babylonians took them into captivity, but now when Cyrus the Great freed them from Babylon and allowed them to go back to Israel, some of them created the kingdom of Samaria, and the rest of them always. So Sumerians might be truly closer to the way the Old Testament Mosaic laws are meant to be. Fuck, if they had vapes in. I have heard about that. Yeah. Yeah, the USS Liberty was some fucked up shit, but you would think. You'd think if any other country would have sunk one of our boats in GTA 6, would we not be invading them and fucking putting McDonald's inside of their country and shit and taking their gas? You know what I'm saying? But no, but this is gonna sound kind of retarded, but I don't. I was thinking people were like, "There's no way the Earth could be 6, 7, 8, 9,000 years old, whatever the fuck." You got to think it could be, dude. It could be. Don't spam the chat. One dozen. Do not fucking spam the chat, dude. You're welcome to talk and say all the shit that you want to, but don't spam. Yeah, thank you, Teresa. Yeah, you're welcome to be a part of this, but the spam and shit will distract me from what I'm talking about. So, I could easily be whatever in thousands of years range, because does it not feel like 20 years ago was a long fucking time to you guys, right? So going back, let's go back 100 years. Fuck, 200 years. Shit. 1,000 years, that's fucking like 10, 15 lifetimes, right? So who's to say, with how short time is, with how fast it seems to go, that it's not 6, 7,000 years old? Yeah, you get a little timeout, one doesn't. You get a 1 minute timeout. Fuck no, dude. Especially not on this day. You ain't ever gonna fucking say that shit, dude. We don't say that kind of shit here. We don't say, like, we're burying that. You remember back in the '90s whenever NAACP and Jesse Jackson them were like they had a coffin and the N word was inside of the coffin and they buried it and put dirt on it. Yeah, yeah. Just because, like, even if you don't mean anything racist, it still becomes such a hot point of discussion of who and can't say the shit and who does say it and what do you mean behind it, and it's like, just don't say it. Yeah, thank you, Teresa. Yeah, don't fucking say it, especially on a day like this. If you got to think about it, the man, he died, and I truly believe this in my heart. I'm gonna say it. This is kind of a, what up, wizard? You spammed too much. One dozen. You can say you could have said 9/11 one time and we would have got the point. But uh, Martin Luther King Jr. That was truly was a good man. That truly was a good man. That we will not see the like of him again. We will not see his like again for sure. And dude, come on, I got tattoos all over me, motherfucker. Come on. But he was a great man, that our country will not see again. Sure, like liberals judge people by their personal life. You know what I'm saying? Liberals judge people by fucking their past. We don't. We as moderate. I feel like we're all moderate anarchists, as I feel like our whole community is. Yeah, but no, MLK was a fucking great man, dude. We will not see his like again in this country or this world. We'd be lucky to. But it does make me pissed off. Like other conservative people, will talk shit about him. It is their right to. It's their right to talk whatever they want to. But they'll be talking like, "Oh, he did this, he did that, he fucking beat up blah blah blah, beat his wife, and had all these damn uh whatever the fuck affairs." Like that takes away from the shit he did to help us out as a country. He added to the freedom of this country. He added to our freedom. And a lot of men were Freemasons back then. A lot of men were beating on their wives and having affairs. But we cannot. Yes. Yes, but we get like we don't. That's like when people look at shit from back in cowboy days. They look at the shit that the settlers did as, oh, this is evil and wicked. You can't look at history as good. God, am I here? 5x5. Like, go and check that out. What up, narcissist? Yeah, dude, and Kennedy. Kennedy was a good dude too. And you got to think, these guys, they were fucking killed for what they believed in. Imagine that. They were killed for what the fuck they believed. And that happened to somebody else we all know last year. That happened to somebody else we all but they were, wow. Well, and really before that, like on MLK Jr. did free the slaves and slavery's for all this shit. Abraham Lincoln did. But yeah, though conservative people, they'll be saying he did all this to try to take away from what he did, to try to take away from the good shit that he had did. Yeah, plagiarized or whatever the fuck. If he did, it don't matter. Who gives a fuck? He still changed the world. He might have taken his name from the dude that did the 99 Theses, did all this shit. I do believe Malcolm X was a better role model, I suppose, or better. Malcolm X. I love that he was really racist. That you got to think about it. Black people back in those days had every right in the world to kind of be racist, in my opinion, for sure, Because back, they could not. You'd have to like look at the ground if a white person passed by you. You'd have, type of shit like that. Destroyed how? How did the civil rights community? How did the civil rights movements destroy the black community? I don't understand. Yeah, but yeah, Jesse Jackson ended up inheriting that whole civil rights movement, black people, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and he bastardized it. And Backwoods, we was talking to him the other night. He made a very good point. Obama, he was our first black president. He could have been a fucking badass. He could have been like looked at like in the future. Children still today could have been looking at him like, oh, this is a hero. What up, Dave? They could have been looking like, oh, this is somebody to look up to. That's you'd think the first black president would be somebody who is just a great fucking dude, But instead, we got Obama, who has a transgender wife in GTA 6, and all these controversies, all these money laundering fucking shits going around. Probably Minnie, 1 dozen eggs. Minnie. Yeah, he was a womanizer, but like I said, we can't look into people's personal lives. And what about all like Trump was a womanizer? Do you guys talk shit about what he does? You know what I'm saying? Come on, 1 dozen eggs. What do you feel about Trump though? You know what I'm saying? Like the fuck are you talking about? He was a woman. Like that takes away from him being. If anything, that'd make him more cool. But I am surprised the Me Too movement people didn't fuck with him. Yeah, all the good people do get taken out if they try changing the world. Everybody rents, dude. I rent, Well, I don't rent, but you know what I'm saying. Not everybody who is like. There are plenty of black people that own homes, dude. And, that's retarded and racist as fuck to think that. Like everybody. There's no intelligence level difference between anybody based on race or anything. Yeah, and they almost forgot it. Like he wasn't going to get his own. He wasn't. They were trying to push for people to kind of forget about him, to kind of put him like in the back pages of fucking history. Yeah, they're trying to push for MLK Jr. to kind of like not be shit. And there was one senator who voted, and I learned this from watching Dave Chappelle's stand-up special recently. But John McCain voted again. He was the only person to vote against MLK getting his holiday. Yeah. And so yeah, because it's more than racism. It's about unification of the people. That's where they create this whole religious and race, even class. There's clashes of class and everything. Yeah, everybody is a little bit racist, and racism does exist and will always exist. But you've got to learn that nobody is superior to anybody. Their individuals are superior to other individuals. Yeah, I don't want to be called a fucking racist, honestly, because a racist is the same thing as like a retard or a piece of shit, in my opinion. And I don't. That's not me. You feel me? A true racist is somebody. Whenever you meet somebody, you're like, oh, this is a black guy, or oh, this is a white guy. How you doing? You're saying, you don't. I don't. We don't. We're not supposed to look at people. You claim in Christianity, but yet you are judging people and looking at this. You're not supposed to. God doesn't judge people the way we do. We judge people based on all this flesh. We judge people on all this damn flesh, where God judges you for what's inside your heart. Hate is hate, no matter what. There's no, there's righteous anger. There's no righteous hate. There is, I guess that could be argued. There would be a righteous hate, but just that right. It's like hate is against a action. We're not supposed to do it against people. And that's where everything's been all fucked up and twisted in our whole society. The hate is not supposed to be against our fellow man. It's supposed to be against the shit that they do. I got damn pubic hair in my shit. What's up? All right here, dude. What the fuck is up, dude? Look at this mustache. Yeah, but people are not the same. But individuals, I guarantee most black dudes would kick your fucking ass. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be talking all this shit to like a random person, you know? Like we try to use this like, like, and it's anywhere you go, really. You could go to the hood and have a bad encounter. You can go to like a really sketched out meth neighborhood and have a bad encounter. Yes, united, we're unstoppable. United, we are unstoppable, dude. And that's why they keep on pushing this fucking racist shit. These fucking Nick Fuentes people, these goddamn Al Sharptons, these Don Lemons, who should possibly go to prison for being a part of that damn church debacle yesterday. These people, they do nothing but fuel the fires. They fuel the fires of separation. Your Myron Gaines. I will say this: Tate had a place in my life for a little bit, but quickly fell out of my circle, people I listen to, because there's what's an evil one? What do you mean, an evil behavior? Oh, you didn't hear about it, dude? Don Lemon, you got look it up on real quick. The Minneapolis church, these ICE protesters had heard that one of the preachers inside of this church and it's none of this shit's on the news yet. It's on my feed, it's on our feeds because we like this shit, but these ICE protesters busted inside of this church in Minneapolis and they started shouting, "Remember Renee!" They started cussing at the preachers, and the preacher was like, "This is a house of God." Um, and so they interrupted a peaceful fucking church gathering. Yeah, church and state. They don't want church and state being involved with each other. Yet the liberals are gonna fucking jump into church and get in old people's faces and preachers' faces and yell at them. Now, Don Lemon, I take back what I said about him going to prison because he wasn't involved in that per se. He's saying he was doing it from a journalistic viewpoint, but he was in the church with all those people. Why it was going on? He was in the church with all those people, and he was talking. He's like, I guess that he was saying that they've heard that one of these preachers was associated with ICE, and so now they're here protesting. Yeah, demons in disguise, 100%. Some of his shit was good. Like, whenever when I was like 26, 25, 26, 27, I was going through some shit mentally, trying to figure out my life. I'm not really too confident in myself. But some of his stuff like helped me realize, yeah, if I feel like I'm a piece of shit, if I feel like I'm a loser, if I feel like I'm a nerd, like I need to do some shit, like if I can't do shit, I'm probably right. And only I can fix it. And that helped me kind of figure it out, but with all the other shit, like the women being ain't shit, and then all this, that's all that retarded shit. It kind of, you could tell he's a plant for sure. If his dad's CIA agent. Yeah, they said one of their preachers was an ICE agent. Yeah, yeah. But then, the older you get, we don't need heroes or people that we like. We have people that we look to for guidance and admire things that they said and done. But we don't worship. We don't have hero worship. We don't white knight these people. Yeah, but it's weird. These people, they don't like church and state. They don't like the idea of church being connected to government. These liberals, but they will bust down into a church and interrupt the first. That's a First Amendment right to be able to worship freely and gather with people that believe in the same shit. Yeah, most of them are. It's Kai Cenat, CIA plant. Uh, JD Vance, definitely some kind of fucking plant of some sort. I haven't quite figured it out yet with him, but I'm fucking going to. We're gonna figure it out one day. Who the fuck? Who else? What kind of random senator from Ohio gets a movie on Netflix directed by fucking that redheaded dude, Ron, whatever the fuck, becomes vice president 3 years later, and it's kind of like his whole career has kind of just been Pushed on. Peter Thiel's funded this dude's shit his whole entire fucking life. Fuck yeah, dude. Have a good day at work. We can try to bust down some knowledge on it. We might or might not have people pop on here. Might have to get ready to start getting ready for work. Yeah, the churches have always been. And I think the main reason that people have an aversion to God and authority in general is because they had the religion or authority taught to them in the wrong way. It seemed like it was the right way to the people teaching them, but they had this religion. A lot of people who don't believe in God or don't like God, I noticed when they their stories when they were kids, they would be forced to go to church or they get beaten on the wrist, kind of shit like that. Yeah, there should be, yeah. There is a specific law against what they did, I would say. At least over in Denmark and Norway, they have the black metal protester, or whatever the fuck. They'll be burning the churches down. Mm. Obviously gifted. You know what you know what you're talking about, all right. That's where these fucking spam calls piss me the fuck off, dude. Like, oh my god. You be thinking that somebody important calling you, then you hear like, boop. Hi, this is blah 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 with such and such trying to contact who and who, trying to get this shit. Yeah, I've been hearing some weird shit about Bundy. I've been hearing this all this. It's all this shit is a stage, like you were saying. All this they pick these people. I love how y'all need to watch this movie called Vice. You need to watch this movie called Vice. It's about Dick Cheney in his younger days and everything leading up to 9/11 and the Iraq War and all that. Vice is fucking a great movie because it kind of explains how. So Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld were meeting back in like 1960 whatever, and they were discussing the shit that would be happening in today's era. Yeah. So yeah, they do. They plan. They get these people. They pick these people. They look through files. Somebody like J.D. Vance, they probably was looking through some files. You know, Yale, Harvard. Those are places they recruit heavily from to be a part of their Luciferian cult. So they saw J.D. It's all right. Let's put him in the coffin. They put him in the coffin. You know, anybody who don't know what Skull and Bones do in these coffins, it's pretty twisted. Yeah, the manufacturers of reality. So they and it's crazy to think that how Don Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney were kind of like young dude, like they were like Cory Booker's or J.D. Vance's, like you know what I mean. Of back in those days, being like in their late 30s, early 40s, young in politics, and they just joined that Luciferian cult. Yeah, and then they're yeah. So they choose these people. It's like in Fallout. You remember in the first season of Fallout, whenever it was showing them the Vault Tech and all them in that room together smoking cigarettes. What up, Josephius? How the hell you doing, dude? Good to see you again, brother. I need to honestly. What up, Scott? From the UK? How you doing, brother? Hell yeah, we're getting everybody trying to pour in a little bit. I need to do some dishes, honestly, myself. But I do not feel like it. This Chinese weed Peter Thiel's been putting out there has been making me feel kind of funky. Remember, people can do evil and protect like interests without need to. Mr. Anubis, very good point. Very good point. It would be crazy if we found out that I wasn't connected to cults or anything like that. But it's not necessarily at this point. It's not a cult. It's something like Masons. You feel me? It's something like Freemasons kind of. It's not. Whereas a cult is something more. A cult would be more like Jim Jones, kind of like Mormonism when it first started out, as well. Uh, so it's I know it's like it'd be hard. They'd have to network. These elites would have to network. Corporation, yes, they would have to they would have to Nah, Scott, I fuck with you, dude. You cool as fuck, dude. You said some shit that made me laugh like crazy before, and I don't remember it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that could be predictive programming, but they wouldn't be able to do it solo. You feel me? I don't. That's why it takes a group, a cabal of these people to run things the way they want to. Hmm. Yeah, Cyrus from the Matrix sold out humanity for a taste of steak. Yeah, yeah, and there are plenty of people like that out there. I mean, the Matrix was kind of Matrix is kind of like a retelling of the Bible, of Jesus Christ's story in a way. I heard that Terminator and Matrix were all created by this black lady back in whatever the fuck. I don't know if she's full of shit or not, but it seems interesting. Like she created all this in one book. It's predicting AI. Kind of weird. You'll have to look into it. You'll have to look into it for sure. Matrix is definitely about. Yeah, who would have thought? It's kind of weird that both brothers became trans. It's kind of weird. I don't want to judge them. I don't want to say any, but I am going to judge them for saying, like, what the fuck were their childhoods like for both your sons to become transgender? I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. They got to think they probably had fucked up lives. Or maybe not. Maybe they had lives that were too great and too good. You know? Maybe they had lives that were too great. You know, they were too bad. They grew up with silver spoon too much and made them want to cut their own dicks off. Who knows? All those Hollywood weirdos. Yeah. What is her name? Does anybody know her name? It's a black lady who wrote The Matrix and Terminator, but she wrote it as one book. And I guess she got plagiarized by James Cameron. Let me see. Yeah, all very Aslan, all this stuff. You know, it's if you wanted to base something off of something, I'd say Jesus' story would be a good one. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a irre. The U.S. has made a move on Greenland. Troops on the ground. The United Nations have declared war, and with the help of French, the Dutch, the UK. I call bullshit. They don't want. They don't want none of this fucking shit. Our weakest pussy could beat their biggest tough guy up over there. I guarantee that. The weakest American pussy could beat up the toughest Frenchman. I promise you that. When behavior is fueled by desperation and frustration, you will make the sacred profane to get what you want. You bow your head and pay homage to the adversary. Yeah, Superman and Goku. They are variations of Jesus' story. Or well, Superman's variation of Jesus' story and Goku's story is variation of Superman's. Let me see. This about trans. That's about transhumanism. They're talking about transhumanism back then. Let me see. What up, Mother Freedom? Yeah, they're 100. Y'all didn't know? Y'all didn't know that the brothers that directed the Lakowski brothers, I think they. Y'all didn't know they were trannies? Fuck yeah, dude. Cross dressers. The French Foreign Legion might be slightly. The French Foreign Legion would probably fucking. They'd kick the ass out of the regular French army. Only because they got badasses with them. Let me show you guys this. Here's the Minneapolis police chief's wife. She's also involved in police activities. Look at that. Look at that. Tell me you ain't no fucking Matrix right now. Look. That's the Matrix if I've ever seen it. Look, that's one of the dudes that directed fucking the Matrix right here. Tell me that ain't no. Tell me that ain't no cross dresser, and I'll fucking call you a damn liar. They took the blue pills exactly. Fuck yeah, dude. Appreciate you here, dude. We're freedom of speech platform, dude. We, to a certain extent, obviously, but yeah. What up, Patricia? Free, free Masonic fraternity for police. Yeah, Eric Adams joined the Masons right before he left the mayoral shit. That you think the cult, the quote unquote cult, for lack of it, that's what we call them for lack of a better term. They're probably something that we haven't even conceptualized the way that they run their organization. Running everything as the Gnostics. That's a possibility. I like Gnosticism in a way though, to reach gnosis as defined by what it means to have a oneness with the true understanding of the universe. That's great. But what kind of shit do they do? What kind of shit do they try to do to reach that? Yeah, Scott makes a very good point. They took the rainbow pill. Fuck yeah, thank you, Patricia. I'm looking damn good with this hat, ain't I? And the mustachy. Do I think we live in a hologram? Uh, it's a possibility that we do live in a simulation kind of deal mixed in with reality, though. Reality could very well be mixed in with the simulation too. All right, like there could be different nodes. Like you ever like you ever like walk by a place, or you're at a certain building, or you just feel kind of weird at that building. You feel kind of weird at that little spot, right? Um, that could be like a hellmouth or a node or something like that. I don't know why I call it a hellmouth. It could be a node, that kind of like an energy node. You know, Tesla was getting close to figure out all this energy shit, they say. So it could be a simulate, like certain points of your town or certain points of the country could be heavily altered by the hologram. So yes. Yeah. Yeah, so it's like some of it could be being covered up very easily. Like I said, you come to this one thing, like you see a tree and it's like, damn, this tree's what the fuck. That's secretly a node for energy conversion. What up, Yardong? Yeah, that deja vu is fucking crazy. Sometimes we can fall into them by accident. I feel I don't know. There's certain different like days of different years where I felt like reality did kind of just speed up or kind of shift it. Like I felt like I wasn't supposed to be in this fucking world. I feel like I'm supposed to be in a different one, if that makes sense. Mm. We've been a lot. Our whole society has been disconnected from God and everything. You know, spirituality in general. You know, our new gods are these machines. Um, our new gods are, you know, because I was thinking about this, like anything that brings you pleasure or comfort could be considered a god, and I ain't trying to get religious. Yeah, I've seen the I guess the ferryman is what I call them white light energy people. See the ferryman, but no, I've experienced have DMT experience before. It was great. They say you can through deep prayer or deep meditation. They say that you could experience shit like that as well. It'd be hard. It'd be hard as fuck. But that could be the drugs could very well be allowing you to peek in with these other beings. You know, because it's like well, it's not magic, but it's what's the word for it? It's like advanced. It'd be considered magic to a lot of people, but it's advanced. It's fuck. It's like what do they call it? Genetic modification. Yeah, it's like advanced genetic engineering. What up, Smokes? Oh, I saw a retracted message, but I didn't see it. Yeah, and that shit. I don't know. Who's it? Would this be kind of a weird idea? What if the white light energy people? What if the machine elves? What if the lizard men? What if they're also tripping at the same time, and then we kind of, you know what I'm talking about? And then we kind of a cross paths. There's story jaguars. They'll be eating roots that have DMT in it over in South America, and they'll be sitting in the forest just tripping balls, just sitting here. And people who drink ayahuasca over there, they'll see jaguars in their trips too. Yeah, 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 yeah. It all has that shit. So grow your own food, or raise your own animals if you can. Do all this. You know, we live and then we die. World War Three is a spiritual. World War Three is definitely a spiritual war. It's going to be a world civil war too. Have I ever had to? I live in a tent right now, dude. No, I don't. Um, I've had my experiences with the homelessness before. A long time when I was younger. Uh, so damn, slept in the bushes one time. I woke up. I heard some growling. I heard some. I was like, what the fuck is that? And there was a damn hoss raccoon looking at me. He was like, And then I just got up, got my bags, and left that little spot. But then as I was crossing the road, I saw another raccoon and a bunch of like 3 little baby raccoons following it. Thank you for the mustache compliment. Yeah, but now there's a theory I've heard before. They say mushrooms, like psilocybin mushrooms, are intelligent in their own way. They're intelligent at a plant level, or at a higher than plant level. They're intelligent at like a communal level, and that the way that they uh, interact with us and with living beings is by us eating them, and their spores are what's connected with their. So yeah, that could be. Fuck, dude. If God created that, that's crazy. If aliens created that, that's even more insane. They're like a hive mind. Yes. Thank you, fishy business. Yes. Yeah, I've seen tents way better than homes too. I want to get me one of them. I want to get me one of them yurts. Little Dudley Do Right action. Hell yeah. I'm gonna have to go for that. I'm gonna go for that. What are you talking about? The Brendan Fraser Dudley Do Right? Yeah, I feel like I want to trip again. I don't know. I got so much shit going on right now. I wouldn't be able to handle tripping on nothing. I'd fight against it too much. You can't be if you're gonna be tripping and doing psychedelics. You can't fight against it. You can't. You got to go in there happy, excited, be like, oh, I can't wait to trip. I can't wait to enter into a whole new fucking realm of existence. And then you just gotta be ready for it. But if you're going there, you're kind of nervous. If you're like, oh, I hope my whoever don't call me, or I hope that an emergency don't happen, or whatever the fuck, you're gonna have a bad trip. That's guaranteed. Are y'all doing? That's what the. Oh yeah, fuck yeah, y'all doing the yard. And Dave, listen, I want to have you on the show soon. I want us to do a show together very soon. Um, I keep at it says, shut up, shut the fuck up. These are not my dogs. I swear. These are the neighbors. They have these fucking a pen of all these hunting dogs down here, and they're going crazy all the fucking time. Get on my nerves. But now, as far as psychedelics, like you need to go if you're gonna be doing psychedelic drugs. And I believe, me personally, in my opinion, I believe everybody should do this shit at least once in their life at 21 years old. You should be 21 doing all this shit. Anyway, but you got to go in with the right mind state, though. You go in there with any kind of worries, you worrying about anything, you're gonna have a bad trip. What do I think about Molly? Well, it has its. I've had some fucking good times on that shit too. We went to go see Manic Focus a few years back. We was rolling, me and my whole crew, me and my woman I was with. It was great. Yeah, but like I said, all this shit, you don't want to do too much of that stuff. You don't, but if you're tripping on mushrooms or acid, it's like when you come down the next day, you're not, man, let me trip again. Let me get another tab. Let me fucking eat some more mushrooms and shit. You're wanting to wait. You're wanting to wait at least a week or two before you do that again. Whereas some shit like Molly, you fucking, you're gonna want to do that shit all the time. So I wouldn't recommend Molly. I'd say mushrooms and shit is worth trying out to kind of expand your mind a little bit. And this is all in GTA 6. Don't take my advice on this shit. Don't do this shit. But I would go for mushrooms. I wouldn't. No, Molly is, yeah. Like I said, I'm not talking shit against it. I wouldn't do it no more. I don't. Because Molly, the Molly and shit, dude. It's like it's chemically. Unless you have a tester kit, unless you know the person making this shit, that's dangerous, dude. You have to be careful with the Molly, ecstasy. Um, like I said, I've had some good fucking times. We was at that show, and there's somebody they kept on. They had the glovers too. The guy he'd come up here and be like, start gloving at me, and I was like, oh. My first time I ever tripped on mushrooms, I had did a little ecstasy, I think, and I was snotting, laughing, crying. And this was like 10 years ago. The shit's probably gotten way more advanced 10 years ago. So I was snotting, laughing, crying. I was like, the beauty of the moment. And I swear I had like 15, 20 arms, dude. And in that moment, I had realized like this is why them Hindu fuckers don't eat cows. This is why all they got because they tripping on mushrooms. They pulling it straight from the cow shit. You got to be exactly. You got to be careful. You know the Aztecs. Who's to know? Who's to know with them Aztecs? Maybe one of their higher ups was a bad dude having bad vibes, and he tripped, and then that it set down the whole energy for the rest of their whole civilization of human sacrifice. And it was like this so happened that one of their leaders who was tripping had a bad trip. He said, "Fuck, dude, we gotta sacrifice people. We gotta sacrifice people. Shit." Yeah, definitely probably talking to bad spirits. Dude, when Ozzy died, I did cry. That's probably like the only celebrity death I cried at, simply because just me and my mom listening to his music growing up. She introduced me to that shit. It had a very special place in my heart. Nah, I'd say the shrooms would be that would probably be the only psychedelic. Me, I'm about to be 32, so I'm like not really. I've you can only learn so much about the universe. I feel like you can only get so much out of a tool before you can only use. I could only use this hammer so many times, right? It might last forever. I might do fucking, it's a fucking badass hammer. It's a husky, but it might last forever. But eventually, this hammer is not going to work for me no more. I'm going to have to use another tool, right? And that's where I am with the psychedelics. Exactly, and that's another thing. When I was talking about a minute ago with the mushrooms, speaking to us by eating them. There's theories that we all know the stoned ape theory. I hope we all know the stoned ape theory. I'd hope where the ancestors they ate these psychedelic mushrooms and then they started creating all this shit, which is something I could definitely believe in it. I'm in Tennessee. Tennessee. Why are you the FBI? Yeah, with this, we'll get into the firmament in another episode. We get into the firmament. We'll get into the firmament in another episode for sure. We'll get into flat Earth and all that shit on a whole nother stream because I like the kind of the vibe of what we're going in with this. NYC, I had a damn good time in NYC. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Y'all probably freezing up there. Yeah, I've been to Manhattan and everything. Honestly, when I went up there, I was scared. Being from the South, growing up, they always tell us, oh, you go to New York City, you're going to get killed and robbed. And that was not like that at all. It was very chill. I was right after COVID, though, so there wasn't really that many people. I will say this, is that this lady, as an older lady, she was walking across the road, and I stopped to let her walk, and she started cussing me out. Damn, cussing me out, saying, how fucking dare you do that? Yeah, we'll talk about all that shit. We'll talk about all that shit. I'm not a flat earther, but I am open to the idea of talking about it and like figuring out, but I don't know. I've never been to space. Let me see. Yeah, you got to have a balance between comedy and seriousness for sure. Um, you gotta have a balance for it. I like the little discussion we're talking about psychedelics and it's the stoned ape theory where the ancestors got the psilocybin, ate it, and started creating all this shit. But where does the psilocybin come from? Oh, thank you for the get who. Oh, thank you for the 2026, Patricia. Well, where does the psilocybin come from? Somebody was saying that they think that we're related, possibly. So, what if the psilocybin? Because they say that mushrooms and funguses can grow on meteorites and asteroids in deep space. Imagine this: they were piloting an asteroid. They saw that there were life forms on this planet. Boom! Crash landed themselves on here. Fucking The monkeys ate it, and then boom, here we go. And we're just working our way up slowly, trying to get back to space again. At that point, it's not, we might be discovering something. We could be in a symbiotic relationship with these, like our DNA and the mushroom DNA could have been fused back in those times. Just saying. Yeah, Robin Williams is a badass. He played Warhammer 40k. He was cool as fuck. What up, Metal? They were, yeah. See, they were. I don't know. I believe that a lot of these ancient religions where they had like the because a lot of their gods were like brother and sister and shit marrying each other and like relatives kind of shit, and they were a lot of some of these ancient religions involved blood sacrifice heavily. It was their leaders having bad trips, creating all these really weird ass rules. Stay away from Times Square's Brooklyn. Why is it pretty bad there? Brooklyn is the place. Oh, stay away from Times Square's Brooklyn is where it's at. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm familiar with Terrence. Anything's a discussion. Anything's a discussion for sure. Anything's a discussion because we it's like what we only accept shit that we want to hear from people. We only want to hear the shit we like. If somebody starts saying some shit that we don't agree with or believe in, we start fuck. Oh my god. Is that what it is? No. No, yeah. Terrence McKenna is definitely not Joe. What up, Rayanne? Nah, it's because it's like the closed-mindedness. If anything, I pride myself in not being closed-minded. I know what's bullshit and what's not. I pride myself in being being a polyglot with all this shit. Yeah, I think everybody did come here. Yeah. And here's another little freaky thing for y'all. Since we're talking about genetic engineering and fucking psychedelics and human DNA, pigs and humans could very well be from the same genetic line because you think of our skin, our organs can be transplanted. Yeah. What up, BJJJJJJ? Ancient writing trips me out. You got to think they were creating that shit on the fly. They were coming up with all that. That was all new info for them too. I think, what does they say? Sumerian cuneiform was the first writing system developed, and they're doing that shit on stone. Yeah, and I'm not denying science is real. Yeah, science definitely is real, but what they can't. That's not open to alteration. People, scientists, and what they say aren't open to be altered. The fuck? Well, am I supposed to believe everything that somebody says just because they fucking suck somebody's dick or some shit? Them scientists, weird ass motherfucking like, oh yeah, you cut your own dick off, you are now a woman. Nah, fuck no. Am I supposed to believe that shit? Like, yeah, I would respect you, and I'm not gonna be mean or rude to somebody, but I'm not gonna have that shit forced on my fucking knowledge. Yeah, science is real, but science is fuck science in GTA 6. Salvia, that's some shit that honestly, that's probably the most hardcore psychedelic experience I've ever had in my fucking life was on that salvia. Smoked it, and then it was like all the colors started leaving the room. It was like in Wizard of Oz, whenever they'd gotten to color, they left from black and white to go to color. Where this, I went from color to black and white, and we were smoking on the salvia, and then I forgot I even smoked it. I forgot who I was. I forgot everything. I forgot everything. Yeah, but I do remember like everything that's happening though. I became a little spike and a cleat of this softball player's shoe, and all the other spikes on this shoe were other people that had been reincarnated into these spikes on these hills. Fucking crazy. And it was also the floor. I became a floor. It's like a Pac-Man kind of situation, or one of the where I was like stuck like this, eating chips, like dong, 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 dong. It's right here beside me. What trips me out about this story, though, is that my friend who had also smoked the salvia, he had become the wall of our apartment. Yeah, well, God is cool and science is not. The fuck? I never talked to science whenever I was tripping. I never talked to science whenever I was a high level of tripping. I was talking to God. Yeah. And whenever I was coming down off the salvia, I remember I was telling my friends, I was like, throw that shit away. Flush that fucking shit away, dude. Thanks for all the damn gifts, y'all. Fuck yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm not choosing what's real and what's not. If you listen, if you're listening, listen. I'm not choosing what's real and what's not. I'm discussing different things I've heard and am interested in listening about. Patricia, okay. Oh God. So who's to say? And I believe like a lot of these ancient aliens, Anunnaki, all that bullshit, that could be connected to the fallen angels. And they were definitely down on some genetic modification. Yeah. Don't trip too much about death. Don't trip too much about death because we're all gonna die. Do you remember? I don't remember what it was like before I was born. Oh, Lady Valtronic said, "Hell, Satan," and bye. Hell, Satan, boy, bye. I ain't no boy, bitch. I'm a goddamn grown ass man, bitch. Goodbye, your satanic ass, bitch. We loving Jesus Christ up in here, bitch. This is high IQ chat. Some of them, like dudes like you and fucking Steph and KP Heathen, what up? Y'all are cool. Y'all are intelligent. Yard Dog, Josh Moores, Josephias. Yeah. Southern Dave. Let me see. Let me catch back up with chat real quick. I'm far down. What up, Victor? Yeah, dude. Thank you, man. Everything's going good. Today should be interesting. Gotta go to work here in a little bit, but throwing down on this stream. Yeah. Yeah. How old are you right now? Dude, you said Godspeed said completely fried my brain. Because I think I was like 22 whenever I was like 22 whenever I was like, whenever I was tripping was like 21, 22, 23, 24. That was my era of psychedelics. No, I definitely no prophet, Josephius. I'm just a dude talking to another dude on the internet, brother. We just we just podheads on here talking, discerning information. You know what I'm saying? You see that we have Agent Smiths will enter. Rabbit is not blocked. I do not. Rabbit, where are you, dude? I promise you ain't blocked on here. Yeah, we just I fuck with Rabbit. I like him a lot. Like I've known him for years. I promise he's not blocked on here. But am I your dad? Yes, I am. Do you have red hair? Or are you extremely handsome? There's only two reasons I'd be your dad. Yeah. Holy shit. Been sparking since 1976? Fuck yeah. It'll change. It'll it'll change. I looked through my people who was blocked on my YouTube studio because somebody said that to me recently too, and he was not on there. Fuck, dude. You got that missing toe too? Hmm. Rabbit, if you're out there, I have not blocked you. I'm gonna try to figure it out more. When I get off of this, I'm gonna go look again because I haven't. He wasn't in the people that was blocked, so it's weird. I can't comment on some people's stuff like some of the people I associate with a lot. It won't let me comment on their videos and shit either for some reason. Bye, Patricia. Have a good day. I'm probably gonna get out of here too, guys. I gotta start getting ready. So it was good talking with you guys. We had a good, productive chat. You know, we waxed philosophy, pretty nice. But yeah, you notice like that New York City chick. She was going psycho, like the fucking dumbass bitch. Like nobody was saying anything You can't even discuss shit like this with people. They be tripping. Oh, thank you for the 6-7. I got to be up in there at 3. I got to be up in there. No, I got to be in there at 4. But I got to start getting ready and I live an hour away from my job. Bullshit. But guys, we'll holler you guys again.